They're gonna talk about a big problem on Discogs, at least according to me, and that is that the platform is more or less dead. And what I mean by dead, people are only using it to add records, collect records, and sell records. There are almost no other activity. And by that I mean Discogs has a lot of other functionality, but the big problem is that they actually have a comment function. It's extremely rare to see comments on Discogs. Most record doesn't even have a comment unless they are super famous. If they're on the first page, then maybe they have comments. Maybe. Yeah, this one has a few comments. But 3,000 people have this in the collection. It's more popular than basically any record in Sweden. And since they are featured on the first page, here we have one with 8,000 in their collection. So there are bound to be a few comments, but for any lesser known releases, there almost never is any comments. However, I did find a comment I want to talk about today on a lesser known Swedish pop group. He commented how much he loved the band, and I want to recommend to him that the band just released a new LP record. So I tried to comment. Every time I try to comment on Discogs, I get this pop-up. Oh, your comment is not wanted on this site because it has to be at least 10 words. Otherwise, we on Discogs think your comment is worthless. That is all I had to write for him to understand that there is a new release by this artist. So I'm always so fucking mad when Discogs try and stop me, so I always write something mean. I get so mad every time, and this might be one of the reasons why people don't comment. Comments are usually short. Maybe they only want people to write reviews, and there are a few reviews that are actually 10 words. This just makes me so mad, and it makes the platform more or less dead for anything that isn't already super popular. Now, another thing that I use a lot on my site, and I mean a lot because it's very useful, but that function is more or less dead on Discogs, that is lists. Now, I almost never seen any lists on Discogs, and the only time I see users use list is to list artists that they've seen live, almost nothing else. So let's have a look at my site, what I use lists for. And I said I use them a lot. Most of them are meaningless things that doesn't even matter, but I have a funny one with Swedish artists which names are abbreviation, and then I try to find out what they are for. And most of them are pretty funny. Like NLU, Nina is looking for UFOs. That is a fun list I like adding to. I also have a list where all the band members are 100% girls. And then I have a list big in Japan, artists that were very popular in Japan so that they made many releases over there. And I also have the new wave of new wave because new wave died in the 80s. It died in Sweden. There were no new wave music in the 90s. But in the year 2000 or somewhere around that, there started to pop up new wave bands, and I just started this list, so I only have 2 bands. Here I have a list of bands that sounds like the Smiths. I have one with animals on the front. Yeah, if you do something like this on Discogs, it would be maybe 100,000 releases. Swedish record, there might be only a few thousand. And then I have one with dragons. There aren't that many in Sweden. Pretty cool list where you can see similar record sleeves that have the same motive. And I actually worked at a record store, and I heard about a customer that was looking only for records that had Stockholm as a motif. And after that I started listing all the records that actually view the places in Stockholm. And then I have 2 galleries, one with Tage Åsén, which is an artist who painted many cool sleeves for various artists, and one with Max Andersson, who is a cartoonist. And I also have one where the artist is smoking on the front. Yeah, it's one of my biggest lists. It's very common. I have sleeves where they try to print the gold color, and that is very hard to print, so it can vary very much, but they usually stick out, those records. And this gold color is usually pretty sticky to fingerprints, so you do not really want to touch them without gloves. I have one list where the state or similar organization has sponsored this particular record. Here I have my alcohol package where you drink alcohol and not as much as smoking. I also have a list of nude for ladies and nude for men, covers made by children, and I have one with ridiculous poses, and I even know that there is a book, I think it's in Swedish, with really funny sleeves. Most of them would probably fit there or are in there, and this is just for poses where I think they look ridiculous. Just have a look at this, guys. Yeah, that cracks me up looking on that one. Yeah, and this is just a small part. I have maybe 200 lists that I'm working on, and list doesn't, it exists on Discogs, but I never seen anyone use them for anything at all, and that just makes this place dead to me. People don't care about Discogs enough to actually make a list, and that's why Discogs sucks, and that's why I'm working on something better. Because I can't stand a site that has a monopoly but simply doesn't care about anything while the users cry out for change.